Do you want more winter interest in your garden but don't have a large garden space? Do you want more winter interest but don't want an arborvitae? Check out these 7 evergreens that are perfect for small garden spaces that aren't arborvitaes. Hey everyone, it's Tanya. Glad to have you back in the garden today. Today I'm going to show you 7 of my top evergreens that are perfect for small garden spaces. Evergreens provide not only forage for wildlife, but are also beautiful structures in the garden when everything else is asleep and dormant for the season. Here we have a Weeping Norway Spruce. This is hardy from zones 2 through 8, prefers full sun to part shade. It can grow anywhere between 4 and 15 feet tall and wide, depending on how it is staked. Now in this instance, this is about 2.5 to 3 feet wide because I am staking this to establish a leader, which will provide really great vertical interest to the front of my house. So therefore it is really narrow and I can kind of tuck it in here against the base of my house and not worry about it taking up a ton of space. This has beautiful dark green needles and really is quite drought tolerant. Each spring, I will continue to stake up the new growth so that I can continue to establish a leader right here. And that will continue to provide some additional vertical interest to the space and I think just provide an overall beautiful structure. As you can see here, I have it tucked pretty close to the walkway and to my house, so I am not worried about this taking up a large amount of space. And right here on the edge of my property in my front yard, I've created a small border bed here that contains 3 different evergreens. Here we have the white bud Moonglow pine. This is a dwarf evergreen that grows right around 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. It is low-mounded compact evergreen that is very drought tolerant. I do not have this on drip whatsoever. It has very deep green needles with these little white buds for which it's known, and it just provides such beautiful winter interest. It is hardy from zones 2 through 8. Right here we have a bird's nest spruce. This is a beautiful ornamental evergreen that grows right around 2 to 4 feet tall by 3 to 6 feet wide. This is a very unique evergreen in that it is kind of shaped like a bird's nest with a depression in the center. It is hardy from zones 3 through 7 and does require full sun. It is also exceptionally drought hardy. Notice here the bird's nest-like quality and that little depression in the center which gives it its name. It is really just a sweet evergreen and I really appreciate those very fine needles. This is very soft to the touch. It is not bristle whatsoever, so it just adds a lot of interest and is perfect for borders and rock gardens. And right here we have the yellow false cypress, otherwise known as gold moth. This is a gorgeous ornamental evergreen specimen that has bright yellow needles that really brighten in full sun. It can handle part shade, but it will be brightest in full sun. This is very drought tolerant and grows right around 2 to 3 feet tall by 3 to 4 feet wide. It has a beautiful arching habit and provides such a bright spot in the landscape. I'd highly recommend this one. Notice how bright these needles are. They really are a vibrant yellow in the landscape, and I think they contrast just beautifully with the dark green needles of the evergreens surrounding it. Here we have the blue star juniper. This is a gorgeous ornamental evergreen. It has very dark blue needles and is actually quite soft to the touch, unlike some other juniper varieties. This grows anywhere between 1 to 3 feet tall, 2 to 4 feet wide, and is hardy from zones 4 through 8. It really provides a gorgeous mounded structure and has kind of a weeping effect. It is very drought hardy. I do not have this hooked up to drip, and it is in its 2nd season in my garden. I think it is just gorgeous and really contrasts beautifully with this evergreen that I have right here. Look at those blue needles that contrast with the yellow of the euonymus, which is also an excellent evergreen, by the way. I think this is just gorgeous, and it's really just offers such beautiful blue structure. It's really quite soft to the touch. It does not bristle. It's very soft, and it's just really quite stunning. And here we have 2 Moonglow junipers. These are beautiful juniper specimens that have very feather-like needles. These are not bristly to the touch. They grow right around 10 to 15 feet tall, 4 to 6 feet wide. And my goal for this is to provide some vertical interest here along the back fence in my backyard. Their growth rate is pretty moderate. They've put on a few inches since I planted them last gardening season. Junipers are extremely drought tolerant, and really the bright blueness just contrasts so beautifully with the other foliage in the area. These do prefer full sun. Look at these beautiful blue-like needles that are really upright in a pyramidal form, and they really are quite soft to the touch. They just are gorgeous. See how silver blue that needle is? And I think just the structure provides such a beautiful vertical interest in a garden without taking up a ton of space. You can see how narrow it is on the bottom here. And here we have the Vanderwolf pine. I would consider this a smaller evergreen that can be tucked into a garden space simply because the diameter does not get that big. It can grow anywhere between 10 to 15 feet wide, and it can be tucked along a fence and also trimmed to maintain its size. It can grow upwards of 20 to 30 feet tall, but that will give you a great element of vertical interest in your garden. These do prefer full sun, and these have delicate blue-green silvery needles that are very soft to the touch. These have a gorgeous structure and really just provide so much winter interest in the garden. They are extremely drought tolerant. I do have this on drip currently simply because it is a newly planted tree and I want to make sure it gets all the water it needs to develop a very strong root system. Here you can see how beautiful blue silver these needles are, and they really just do shine, providing such beautiful winter interest. I also really appreciate the structure of this tree. It is very upright and pyramidal in its form, so it really adds that vertical interest that I'm looking for. As with other evergreens, it is doing a needle cast, which is very typical for evergreens in the winter, simply to basically exfoliate their needles that they no longer need for the coming growing season. What I really like about this plant is that it has a very strongly established leader, and I did not have to train this whatsoever. So it just really has a beautiful conical shape. January is a perfect time to plan out your garden for the coming season. January is a perfect time to think about what seeds you want to start this coming gardening season, especially those using the winter sowing method. Be sure to check out my videos using the winter sowing method. I'll link them right here and also in the description below. Thanks for watching. Happy gardening.